Welcome, Army sports fans, from sea to shining sea. This is Bill Crawdad Crawford, and this is Crawdad's Countdown to Kickoff, your home for Army Black Knight football tonight. The human Ouija board, Steve Cripey.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Colonel Tom Economy and I.
Yes, sir.
We're going to get you all caught up on what happened last week in a very good victory for Army. And we also have a really good show tonight. We have Coach Cody Worley, quarterback's coach, is going to be coming on at the bottom of the hour.
And run game coordinator.
Run game coordinator,
There you
Steve.
go.
Thank you for pointing that out. And we have Joe Iacano, who is he with, Steve, once again?
Rivals. Go Black Knights, yeah.
Covers Army. He's going to be with us at 7:15. And we're really looking forward to both of those interviews. And, guys, let's just jump right in to our 57-0 victory over Delaware State.
Nobody
Not.
calls it not.
Jethro Bodine does.
Yeah.
Okay,
no.
there's a reason to use that word.
I don't
Jethro
even know.
Bodine says naught times naught is naught, naught plus naught is naught. There you go.
Yeah, so they don't even know who that is. But so it's I think it was everything that we could have hoped from an Army football game. You know, the competition was not stiff, but we did everything that we were supposed to do. And you score 57 points, you hold anybody in Division I or FCS scoreless. That's a good day. I mean, I think we couldn't have asked more from the Army team on Saturday.
Yeah, just seemed to be firing on all cylinders on both sides of the ball, really. Bryson Daly looked incredibly comfortable at quarterback. That one long pass that he had to Isaiah Alston showed that ability for those touch passes. Dropped it in right over the DB, and that was a thing of beauty. And also, you know, they switched things up. Coach Vitti switched things up on offensive line, pulled someone back, put another one out there, switched a couple other guys at the position, and I think that had a big impact as well because the offensive line just seemed cohesive and was really executing well.
They also block pretty damn good.
Yeah, that too.
Well, you know,
You go, Jethro.
one of the things I liked about this game is, you know, it was supposedly a make-good game where we had to come out and show what we could really do. And we have played smaller schools before, but sometimes it doesn't work out like it's supposed to. And I like it when you go to a game like that and you're supposed to beat somebody really bad, and you do beat them really bad, you know. And we had 525 yards of offense, 238 in the air, and 287 on the ground. I think we were 5 of 5 in the red zone, which we didn't even score from the red zone against ULM. So we made a lot of improvement. And
Yeah, and I made a comment before the game as we were talking, and Tom and I landed on a different side of on a conclusion. I contended that had we played Delaware State first, I think we'd be 2-0 right now, because it allowed us to really just knock off some rough edges and really find our rhythm on that. But your point, Tom, was
Well, I mean, I think it's good to get smacked in the face. You know, we may I don't disagree that we'd be 2-0, but I think we're a better football team by having gone through what we went through week one. I mean, all the things that the coaches talk about, you know, ball security, untimely penalties, those things, those are good. I mean, they're painful, but they're good things to go through, and I think it makes us a better ball club. Though it would have been an easier path had we had Delaware State first. I'd agree with that.
I would say that the first game gave us, as we would say at West Point, lots of opportunities to excel, and a lot of things we could correct, and I think we corrected, or at least apparently we corrected. I mean,
yeah, and I think it showed the coaching staff's agility there to be willing to make on game 1 to game 2, make those adjustments up on the offensive line, tweak some kind of things. I think you made the comment earlier that game 2 they probably opened up the playbook a little bit more.
It seemed like we were much more relaxed in our play calling. I mean, we moved the ball around. We passed when we didn't have to pass. We were just unpredictable. It's kind of what we expected from when we moved to this offense. You know, so I mean, I thought it was a good showing for the players, a good showing for the coaches, And we talked about offensive and defense, but special teams was really good as well.
Yeah, and I will say the one downside, maybe there were a couple downsides, but one that really stood out to me, Jacoby Buchanan, who was money, the last couple of years. I don't know if it's new blocking schemes. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is, because he looks healthy, but he had I think 9 rushes for a total of 13 yards. For less than a 2-yard average.
Yeah,
just don't expect that.
I was thinking about that, but we're not very creative with him. I mean, this is not the same offense that we had.
Well, hey, he's not Gale Sayers, okay?
No, but he's
a big load, and
I would expect us to put him at slot back, give him the ball in space. I mean, he's a load when he gets going, and I think when he comes in, I think the defense looks at that and says, "Man, they're handing it to him up the middle." And so I just think we're not being creative and using his talents in ways that give him an opportunity to excel.
That's right, that whole F equals MA thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you get that going. But between him and Bryson Daly, man, you'd like wear out some defensive secondary.
Well, hey, I think Jackson is telling us we need to take a break. But before we do take a break, a couple of things. One, don't forget the defense. A shutout.
What?
Yeah.
Who?
Don't forget about the old defense, okay?
Yeah, it's all about the offense, man.
No, it's not. All right, the defense did great. And, Jackson, you ready to take us out of here on break one? I guess so.
That would be affirmative.
That would be a break. So this is Crawdad. We'll be back in a minute. Remember, our great sponsor, Nick's Restaurante. Go down there this weekend and have some great food and drinks and a good time. We'll be back in a little bit with Joe Iacano. Crawdad back soon.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have the state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out, and assured that it's fixed right. We take pictures before it's wrecked, and not only after, but we take it as we're putting the parts on. All done to above industry standards. So I'm proud of our body shop too. Don't forget our parts department. So if you don't have to need parts, performance parts, or just parts if you're a weekend mechanic.
Woody Anderson Ford, located at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman, as well as Hughes Road and Madison. You can also check out the great deals at WoodyAndersonFord.com. Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunner's Landing's 18-hole championship Jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's Club Repair Shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your clubs will be returned to you in a timely manner. Unmatched in the North Alabama area, it is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslanding.com. That's gunnerslanding.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case.
And we'll take care of it.
The Lackey Law Firm. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go higher and go Army.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-80s. Maybe an isolated shower across the area. Otherwise, it does look like we are going to end up staying dry. Temperatures drop into the upper 50s, lower 60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. Fairly confident most of us are going to start the day in the upper 50s. A partly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Temperature climbing once again into the low and mid-80s. It does look like we are going to stay dry on Thursday. Much the same as we head into your Friday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Bill Crawdad Crawford, and we are back for segment number 2 of Crawdad's Countdown to Kickoff. Before we get started with our guest, Joe Iacono, just a little mention about North Alabama Mortgage, NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. I'll just tell you this. I can speak from personal experience that if you need to do anything with your mortgage, that's the place to get it done. Brian Hamaker and his team do great stuff. They can work magic with a mortgage. How about that? And Steve, bring in our first guest.
Will do. Joe, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
It's going well. Hey, we get to talk Army football, and better yet, we get to talk Army football coming off of a win. So last time we talked, I gave a little prediction about Lowen and Jones as a great and maybe even one of the better ones. Haven't lived up to my prediction yet, but they combined for 15 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, and a hurry. So what do you think about their performance and the rest of the D and pitching a shutout?
You know, I think Lowen and Jones had a much better game, their second game, than their first. But you know, and I'm really happy that Spencer Jones has been able to stay healthy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's always been one of his challenges throughout his career is his health, but he's been able to stay healthy, do a really nice job out there. And, you know, I think the defense has just looked great, right? Pitching a shutout. I mean, even in the past, even against teams like Delaware State that we were, you know, clearly superior to, they always had trouble pitching a shutout. So for them to do that was awesome. And, you know, even against ULM, you certainly can't fault the defense. And I think, you know, Coach Woody's defense this year may be one of the best he's ever had at Army, maybe the best.
Wow.
Yeah. Joe, so as a former wide receiver, let's talk offense here, because that was a lot of fun watching Army. What was your take on Bryson Daly and his ability running that new offense?
Yeah, so I think he showed a pretty exponential improvement from week 1 to week 2, right? Week 1, he clearly looked uncomfortable, the 3 turnovers, you know, big problems there. But week 2 against Delaware State seemed to be able to open it up a little more. Him and Isaiah Alston have a great connection, definitely have something going on there. And, you know, Daly's a strong runner. He rarely goes down on first contact. I think he's, you know, pretty strong, able to run the ball between the tackles on quarterback follow and even get outside a little bit. So I think we're just going to see, you know, continue to see him improve as the season goes along. I mean, people forget that, he's only started 2 games now. So, I think we're going to continue to see some improvement out of Bryson Daly as the season progresses.
Well, I would also say it seems like he's got a cannon for an arm. He threw the one pass. I say it was 57 yards in the air. Other people want to say 60, but it was a great throw regardless. And one thing I'd like to mention, get your thoughts on it. It seems like special teams are such a good part of our team and such an important part of the game. And they once again lived up to what they needed to do.
Absolutely. Got the blocked kick, big punt return, kick return. I think they are going to break that streak with the, no kick returns for touchdowns for like 15 years or whatever. I think that's going to come to an end this year. Coach Saturnio, I think, gets all the credit for what he's done with, as he calls it, the sauce team there, the special forces. They've done a phenomenal job. And, 70% of all games are won and lost in the kicking game. So that's definitely going to pay dividends for Army as the season goes along.
Well, let's take a step back and look at the broader landscape. As someone that I know you're well versed on the pros and cons of both playing as an independent as well as joining a conference, what do you think about the I think they're more than just rumors of the ongoing dialogue between the American Athletic Conference and Army about potentially joining that conference? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so we actually just released an article on GoBlackKnights.com covering that exact topic. And, I've always been a guy who's been opposed to Army joining a conference. I always, like their independence. I think like a lot of Army fans had a lot of PTSD from our foray into Conference USA there around the turn of the century. But, I think at this point, it's just because something's always been done a certain way, that's silly to continue to do it a certain way. And the landscape of college football, as you guys mentioned, changed a ton, right? And so I think to be competitive long-term, to get the kind of revenue sharing that Army really needs to remain competitive in D1 football, joining the American Athletic Conference is the right move for them. They've talked about if they do it, they've already talked with Mike Buddy about protecting the Army-Navy game and making that a standalone non-conference game at the end of the year, which I think was, one of the biggest concerns a lot of fans had, right? So I think if they solve that problem, you look at everything else they're able to do, and I know the counter-argument is, hey, we're America's team. We like the freedom and the latitude to schedule whoever we want. Well, my pushback on that is, how's that working out? We've had to schedule 2 FCS teams the last 2 seasons, which really does nothing for Army's bowl eligibility, right? So, I think they get 8 conference games. They get Navy. They get Air Force. They can still schedule 1 FCS and 1 Power 5. I think it's the right move. I think the revenue sharing from the bowl games, from the conference, from the TV contracts will trickle down and help all Army sports.
Well, being a Reaganomics guy, I like that trickle-down stuff,
So you're a wide receiver, a Reaganomics guy?
Yeah, just finding all kinds of stuff out of that talk.
A man of many talents.
So, Joe, let me ask you a question. I think one of the things, with T-squared out, probably Ashawn Marshall has just been really probably the most explosive player on the team, yet 3 fumbles in 2 games. Where do you think he's going to be able to continue playing, or you think Monken's going to sit him, or do you have any thoughts on his development?
Based on my publisher at TBA, Charles Grievous, asked Monken that exact question in a post-game presser Saturday, and I think Monken's going to continue to give him chances. I mean, who knows what's going on in practice, right? If he's putting the ball on the ground a lot in practice, then maybe not. But if he's protecting the ball in practice, I think Monken will give him another chance. And we got to see what he does Friday night against UTSA, right? He is explosive. He can break big runs. But at the end of the day, when you turn the ball over at the end of those runs, it's a net positive for the opponent. And, we saw what happened against ULM. It led to the game-winning touchdown and cost us points against Delaware State as well. So he's certainly got to learn to protect the ball as his number one priority. I mean, I think as Army fans, we'd all rather see him gain 10 yards, 15 yards, and hold on to the ball than gain 30 yards and cough it up.
Cost us points against Delaware State. Cost us potential points that we could have scored. I was going, Delaware State didn't score. They didn't do anything.
Score on, right? I mean, it could have been 64. So, and I know that's what Monken's looking at. And, I think against a team like Delaware State, the standard is you do score every time you get the ball.
Right. Well, hey, speaking of exciting players, Terrell Robinson, what are you hearing about him? Do you think, I know Monken said he would play later in the year, but nothing yet.
I haven't heard anything recently on that front, guys. I know when we talked to Monken last, it was preseason, and he had just started the workout, but he hadn't been in any live drills or live contact. So I think until that happens, I think they'll bring him back slowly. That's just my guess. We haven't really heard any updates on it in the last 2-3 weeks.
Hey, let me ask you a question about the roster. Oftentimes when you switch to a new scheme, you've recruited your entire roster based on the previous scheme, and oftentimes there's 2 to 3 years before they really hit their stride. Where do you think offensively, where the roster is? Do we have the players that can really take Thatcher's offense to its full potential, or are we going to be waiting another 2 to 3 years?
In my opinion, for whatever that's worth, I think we will be waiting another 2 to 3 years. All the quarterbacks on the roster were recruited to run the triple option. Now, that doesn't mean they didn't run an offense like this in high school. But when you go back and look at Thatcher's offenses from Nebraska Kearney, his quarterbacks, especially when they were really cranking, getting 4,000 or 5,000 yards, 500 yards a game total offense, amazing dual threats, great size, great speed, ability to chuck the ball all over the yard. I don't think we have anybody in the system like that right now, with the exception of maybe the plebes, right? We got to look at Larry Robinson, Champ Harris. Maybe those guys can get this thing to its full potential. As far as running backs go, I think we've got the right running backs for this offense. Offensive line is a little less of an adjustment, although it is an adjustment, and I think that's one of the things you're going to see Army maybe experience some growing pains with this year is in the offensive line. But, so I think quarterback and offensive line is probably where they need to recruit the most, and then to have some, receivers that can fly down the field like Alston, which they've got, in the slot. I really like Noah Short and Ajon Marshall if he can protect the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I think Marshall is probably our big play potential guy on the field right now.
So as you're running through the list, right, you get to one person that I see like a significant improvement from last year is Tally on kickoffs. He's put almost everything out of the end zone. And, he wasn't far off on a 64-yard field goal. Has there been a substantial improvement in his range, or is it just getting an opportunity to show it off?
If you go back, Cole Talley's always had a strong leg. I think it's stronger now than it's ever been, right? You talked about all the kickoffs he puts in the end zone. You talked about how he just missed the 60-yarder. But he's always had a cannon for a leg. He made that big kick against Missouri in the bowl game a couple of years ago to win it. And I believe, somebody can fact check me on this if I'm wrong. I believe he just missed the game-winning kick that would have avoided the Michigan game going into OT in 2019, which was his plebe year.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
And that was a long kick. I think that was over a 50-yarder. And for Monken to have the confidence in a plebe to put him in at that time to make that kick shows me that Monken knew something we didn't, that the kid had a cannon.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, we're going to have to get out of here and take our bottom of the hour break, but I just want to ask you a quick question about the meep road runners. Give us a quick prediction.
Yeah, so, Frank Harris is banged up a little bit. So I think that gives Army a chance, right? They're 27-year-old quarterback. I picked, I think on GBK, I picked UTSA to win by 3 because it's Friday night, it's on the road. But if Army doesn't turn the ball over, we all know they could beat just about anybody in the country. So protect the ball. They got a shot at winning. But right now I see it as UTSA close. But if Frank Harris is banged up, it gives Army that much of a better chance.
Okay. Hey, good job, Jackson, man. You knocked it out. So, hey, Joe, thanks for coming.
Yeah, good time with Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
We're going to get out of here, and we'll be back at the bottom of the hour. And go Army. Crawdad back soon.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Listen each Friday to the Woody Anderson Ford High School Football Scoreboard Show, powered by the Huntsville Sports Commission on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Bill Crawdad Crawford, and this is Crawdad's Countdown to Kickoff. Your home for Army Black Knight football every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And now we're joined, by Coach Cody Worley. Coach, how are you doing?
Outstanding, guys. How are y'all down in Huntsville, Alabama?
Hey, we're loving it down
Outstanding.
here. Hunts Vegas is a great place to be.
We appreciate you putting a little twang on that.
Yeah. You know I'm from Georgia. So
there you go.
God country.
Well, hey, Coach, I got a question for you right off the bat. You know, this year you were now also the running backs coordinator as well as a quarterback coach. What has that done? What different duties does that entail for you on the coaching staff?
Well, really, we're very collective as an offensive staff, and under Drew's philosophy and what he's brought to our offense, we all typically have been able to kind of diagnose some things and try to help. But everything that we're doing, including myself and my peers, we're trying to come up with the best game plan under what Coach Thatcher kind of envisions the game plan looking like. And it's been a collective effort, and Coach Thatcher has been awesome in implementing the new offense. And, my job is to help coach the quarterbacks and aid in the game planning and do what I can do to help Coach Thatcher and the rest of the staff.
So, looking at your stable of quarterbacks, made a switch to a new offense, and especially for Bryson Daly and Dwayne Coleman, who were in the system a little bit. How has that transition to this new offensive scheme come along, in your opinion?
Well, it's certainly a work in progress. I think we get better weekly, and what that was the same. That was the story in the spring. We wanted to get better from practice 1 to 15. Same thing in August camp. And I think that you've seen some maturation over 2 weeks, regardless of the opponent. But, I think that our offense finally started to click and get way more comfortable in the schemes and what we're trying to get accomplished. So I've been pleased with how Bryson responded. And all those guys, Dwayne Coleman had a great spring and grew as a player in the spring and has come along. And then I feel really good about, our depth with 2 freshmen. And guys that are going to help us that you got to see last week, and Larry Robinson and Champ Harris, and I'm really excited about that group as a whole. But we got to continue to get better each week, each practice, and win every day, and that's kind of the mantra. Regardless of the opponent, we've got to focus on ourselves and getting better and understanding what we can do to help our offense and help it move.
Coach, obviously with the new offense, quarterbacks probably had, if not the biggest change, certainly one of the biggest changes of any position. So as you moved from that triple option to this new option, what kind of transition did you have to go through before you could become a coach of the new system? Had you ever seen this before, or is this something you learned after the new OC came in?
It really just learning from Coach Thatcher. I did some similar things as a player, and we did some similar things in past jobs in my career, but nothing to the extent of what Coach Thatcher has brought to the offensive unit and the philosophy and what we do schematically. So the transition is going really well. I think overall I've still got a lot to learn. But, he's a great teacher, and focusing on what our players can do right now. And really, the things that we can do offensively and the things that we can do with our personnel. A lot of things have really begun to click. And, with the new offensive scheme, we're able to get the ball kind of spread to all 5 skill positions. And it's not as quarterback, fullback, slot-centric. We can start to implement wide receivers and tight ends and running backs and the quarterback run game and just different things. So I think, myself in particular, learning the system, I've still got a long way to go. But I feel very comfortable in what we're trying to accomplish week to week, and starting to get a really good grasp of what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to do. And Coach Thatcher has been the guiding light, obviously helping everybody. But like I said before, it's a work in progress, and we're still learning week to week, especially when new opponents, new game plans. But it's starting to click for not only for us as a staff, but for our players. They're getting more comfortable with the schemes and how things fit and how we can get in and out of wrinkles, where, you may practice it, but then you can implement it in a game. I think that's really important. But it's starting to click for our guys, and that's really the most important thing.
Hey, Coach, I would have to say this, just a little observation from a redneck from Tennessee. Is the offense clicking? I would say 525 yards of total offense, 5 scores every time you're in the red zone, and a few more just to rub salt in the wound. My opinion is that's clicking pretty well. But the question I have for you is one thing that, he's on the team. He's a big guy, good running back. He's in a different scheme. Is Jacoby Buchanan going to be used any differently that you know of, or is he still going to be the handoff up the middle guy? Are there some other skill sets that we might see him doing this year?
Well, I think, we evaluate weekly how we can get our guys in successful situations where they can succeed with their skill set. And I think, we've seen over the years Jacoby's strong suit. And Jacoby is a really good downhill runner with his shoulder square to the line of scrimmage. And implementing him in that role is going to be critical to our success. But he's also evolved as a player. People don't give him credit for being a heavier guy and a big guy. He's got phenomenal feet. He's got great vision, so he's a good zone runner. But I think, when it's all said and done, in those short yardage situations, and especially late in games where guys start to wear down, he is very tough to tackle. And that's a role for him where he can be successful. And we can utilize his skill set and what he's strong and his strong suits as a player. And that's certainly what kind of pops off the screen. But he's evolved his game. He's been able to do other things, and week to week we try to utilize him the best we can. But at the end of the day, we want him to be one of those guys that's tough to tackle between the tackles. And in those short yardage situations, he needs to thrive, and that needs to be his role for sure.
So this Friday evening, you're going to face a talented defense. The Roadrunners are ranked 36 in total defense and 34th in scoring defense. So as a running game coordinator, what do you feel like are some of those next steps that the running game needs to take in that next path toward full maturation?
Well, yeah, UTSA is a really, really talented unit. And they're senior laden. They've got guys who have played for a long time and have utilized.
That's an understatement.
The COVID year and redshirt years. They have a lot of guys who have played a lot of football. So there's not a lot you can show them. But we hope with our scheme that it keeps them off balance. And I think, again, we're focused on ourselves. We talk about it all the time, and I know it's cliche. But that's our mantra here. If we can control what we can control and not let Army beat Army, I think we have a shot every Saturday and in this particular week on a Friday night. But they're a very talented unit. We have a work cut out for us, but I feel really comfortable about some of the things that we've been able to implement. Hopefully we can execute at a high level and protect the football, and that's core value number one, ball security at every position. But I hope our guys can believe, and I know that they do, that we'll be successful on Friday. But it's a matter of execution, fundamentals, playing with great effort, and that's what we pride ourselves on, and being the tougher team, and hopefully that shows on Friday night.
So, Coach, one of the things in previous years, we could look back on a game, or you could tell somebody this is what an Army football team looks like. It's 40 minutes time of possession, and we're throwing the ball maybe 3 or 4 times a game. That's changed now. What would you say would be a good characterization of what an Army football game should look like? Would we still have 40 minutes possession? How many times would we throw? I know it's game dependent, but to just characterize what the new offense should look like.
Well, I think from a culture standpoint, one of our core values is still running the ball and stopping the run. And that's part of the plan. And, we still want to be a very physical, relentless unit and, play with relentless, superior effort and run the ball and enforce our will. And, even in the first game, we had the ball for 34 minutes, if I believe, and we turned it over 4 to 5 times, including the last possession. So if we maintain possession and we can continue to move the chains, we probably have the ball for that 40 minutes of time. So I think every game is different. Last week, we scored 3 touchdowns in a row in consecutive drives. So we scored a touchdown. We had a one-play drive, and we had a one-play drive. And that's okay as long as you're scoring touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the culture and what viewers are typically accustomed to seeing in an Army football offense is a smash-mouth unit who can run the ball. But what we can do more successfully now is implement all of the 5 skill positions, and not a matter of, well, they're going to force us to pass. I think we can, what you've seen is we've been able to throw the ball with efficiency on even early downs in the RPO game, in the play action game. And that kind of it opens up the opportunity for perimeter runs. It opens up the opportunity for downhill inside runs, and it allows us to be more flexible and more dynamic. So getting all 5 skill positions involved in the run game, in the pass game, and kind of keeping defenses off balance, I think is critically important. But our balance comes from not run-pass, so to speak. It comes from, did we get the wide receivers involved? Did we get the slots involved? Did we get the running back involved? Did we get the tight end involved? Did we get the quarterback involved? To me, that's a balanced offensive scheme. So, I still think we're smash mouth, we're tough, we're built on a culture of toughness and being able to run the ball and sustain drives and keep defenses off the field. And, we went 4 for 4 on 4th down last week. And that's who we are. And we had sequencing plays where I thought Coach Thatcher did a great job on 3rd down, getting us in a manageable 4th down so we can move the chains and stay on the field. So I think a lot of it in terms of culture and philosophy, that hasn't changed. But the way we go about it and the way we have implemented the new scheme and getting everybody involved, I think that's the biggest change. But in the pass game, the run game, we're going to take what the defense gives us, and hopefully we can continue to incorporate all 5 skill positions while still having a very talented running offense. And time of possession is part of that, but at the end of the day, if you can score a one-play drive, that's okay too.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, hey, Coach, we'd like to thank you for your time tonight. Go ahead and get all slicked up Friday night. The whole country's going to be watching on ESPN, and we will say, go Army, beat the Roadrunners. Thank you for your time, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys. Always a pleasure, man.
All right, we'll be back in a few. Crawdad out.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
It just works. Picture this. You're at home doing whatever it is you do. Then, pow! The power goes out. Then what? Well, at my house, life goes on. We have a Generac automatic home standby generator from Current Electrical and Generator Services. For your home security and peace of mind, get a free personal consultation on how a Generac automatic home standby generator can protect you. Current Electrical and Generator Services. Call or visit us on the web at HuntsvilleGenerators.com. You've got the power.
The Huntsville Sports Commission is responsible for bringing high-level sports entertainment to the Rocket City. In 2023, enjoy events like the CCSA Beach Volleyball Championships, Hometown Lenders Championship, UCI Paracycling Road World Cup, and so much more. To learn more about upcoming events and the Huntsville Sports Commission, visit HuntsvilleSports.com. The Huntsville Sports Commission. We do sports.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
Welcome back. Stan McDonald from the Stanton Law Firm. I had lunch with Lewis just recently and with a client of ours, a mutual client, and great to hear all the good things going on at the Stanton Law Firm.
Thank you, Wes. The Stanton Law Firm, as you know, we've discussed before, we're dirt lawyers. We do a lot of real estate, litigation and closing. And yes, my son Lewis McDonald enjoyed meeting you a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of your friends. He is, as you know, he's opened up a commercial closing division. So he's really helping a lot of people people who are trying to close, buy, or sell on their commercial property. And you can't be in this community doing business without knowing West neighbors.
I don't know about that, but it sure was getting to meet another McDonald and talking a little bit about his grandfather, Coach Dye, and the different things. It was a lot of fun.
Well, your listeners are really going to enjoy meeting Lewis and you in this community. And like I said, at Jacob Title or the Stanton Law Firm, we close business. We close some good commercial closings, residential closings. We appreciate being part of your show.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Southern Fidelity Mortgage. Think of them as a loan for everyone, offering more products than anyone else and the guaranteed lowest rates and costs in town. Of the 2,000 loans that Southern Fidelity Mortgage has pre-approved over the last 10 years, all but one have closed. That's unprecedented in the banking business. For FHA, VA, rural development, and conventional mortgages, for the best mortgage experience in town, it's Southern Fidelity Mortgage.
Call Southern Fidelity Mortgage Company at 256-656-5936.
Listen to the Bama Recap Show each Sunday morning at 11, presented by Freedom Marine Center on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the final segment of Crawdad's Countdown to Kickoff. And one thing I would like to do before I forget it is mention our other great sponsor, Higher Echelon, with Coach Joe Ross. That's his company. He does a great job. I would say this, if you're out there and you need something figured out, no matter how difficult it is, he and his consultants can help you figure it out.
That's on their tagline, isn't it?
I think that
Higher Echelon, we figure it out.
Yeah, we figure stuff out. I think
figure tough stuff out.
Figure five-letter word.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Road Runners of UTSA. Jackson, give me that meep again. And where's that?
Oh, man, Jackson, man.
No, you can't call him out. You got to give him a heads up.
Oh my God. There we go. Well, the Roadrunners are a pretty good team. They're going to be a tough opponent, but one thing I would like to mention on a humorous note before we get into the serious analytics is they have one of the best football names I've ever heard, and that's inside linebacker Pig Cage, who's backed up by Owen Pee-wee. So the Pig is backed up by the Pee-wee. Steve, you got a lot of stats on UTSA. What are you thinking so far?
I already mentioned the defensive stats, but they have struggled in some areas. Special teams have not been so special for them. I mean, in net punting, punt returns, kickoff returns, they're in the bottom 25% across the FBS. But a very talented, as Joe pointed out, a lot of seniors on there. But one thing I will say, UTSA was really one of the first FBS teams. As soon as they announced the advent of the transfer portal, they hired, I think, 4 or 5 full-time people that's all they do. And so they've become very adept at plugging in those holes with the transfer portal, and it really got it down to an art. And so they're generally in the mix for their conference championship, and even going into this year, some talked about them being the group of 5 representative for one of the New Year's Day polls.
Yeah. So you say that, and I'm like, well, then why do they have a 7th-year quarterback? I'm thinking that he's staying in college because, like, he's getting this NIL deal from the USAA retirement home in San Antonio. You know, I mean, it's got to be something. But it's I think they're going to be a tough opponent. We've always played them tough, or they've played us tough, and. The home team has lost each of the last 3 games, so it's going to be interesting. And Friday night, I don't know when we're going down there. I assume on Thursday.
Oh yeah, at least yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I think things are working against us in the timing of the game, but At least we're playing in an air-conditioned stadium.
And in San Antonio, even this time of year,
pretty hot.
that's really important. But again, I think coming off Delaware State, I think the team on both sides of the ball knows what right looks like. They've experienced it, they've felt it. And again, Bryson Daly, I couldn't get over how comfortable he looked in the pocket, how accurate his passes were, both those that need to be on the rope and those that need the touch on there. I think if we can, like Joe said, if we can minimize, if not eliminate the turnovers, I think we just really need Marshall out there. And with Tyrell on the sideline still, Marshall is our big play guy. And so if he can hang on to the ball, I like our chances.
Yep.
Well, I think Marshall will be out there. I think he got a good bit of an earful from Coach Monken at the last game when he fumbled it.
And if I could just interject to the point, I don't think there's anything that Monken said that made Marshall feel worse than he already did. I mean, he clearly was ticked off at himself when he came off there. So, excuse me.
Well, that's okay. You're excused. But, our history with Texas, San Antonio, in 2019, we beat them 31-13 at their place. In 20, we beat them 28-16 at their place, and last year they beat us at Mikey Stadium for 41-38 in overtime. So,
and that game had a combined total offense and just right bumping up against 1,000 yards.
Okay, Jackson has said we got a couple of minutes left, so let's go ahead and get some picks. Steve, give me one.
Yeah, I think Army's going to put it together. I think they came out of Delaware State confident. I think they found the rhythm. I think I'd love to have watched practice this week because I think it would have been a great week of practice. But I think they put it all together once again. Maybe not mistake-free, but I think close enough where they're going to come away with a W, and I've got Army winning 21-17.
Oh.
Yeah. So I agree with all that. I think I'm going to get Cole Talley in there, so I'm going to say 27-14.
Well, Steve, I was going to pick 21-17, but I'm not going to now.
Don't want to be called a copycat.
No, I don't want to be called a copycat, but I agree with everything we've said. I think the offense really gelled last week, and the thing I'm hoping is I think there's more to come. I don't think we've seen everything that Drew Thatcher has in his bag of tricks, and I think we're going to beat them 24-17. So I still go with the 17 points, but I'm going to add your Cole Talley field goal in there too. So it's going to be a good game. And a reminder for this radio station, Friday, if you want to listen to it, just come on to WZZN on their website, go to Zone 2, and there it will be with the Army broadcast crew. So hopefully everybody gets a chance to hear that game. And
and if I could just interject, a couple players that I think that we need to keep an eye on, especially on their defense. Their safety, Rashad Wisdom, is he could be playing on Sundays, and they've got an emerging linebacker, Trey Moore. Those are going to be players that Army's going to have to account for on every snap of the ball. We've already talked about Harris, their quarterback. Hopefully he's not in there. That definitely increases our chances.
Tom, how many days?
Bill, there's 87 and a butt days until Army beats the hell out of Navy at Gillette Field in Foxborough, Massachusetts.
That's a mouthful, isn't it? Well, hey, folks, we're going to get out of here. Thank you for listening to us. We'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And remember this, as we always say, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, there's a soldier standing a watch so you can enjoy the life that you live in this great country of ours. And with that, I will say, go Army,
beat Navy.
Crawdad, we're out. See you next week.
Here's Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford on their service department.
President's Award winner 2 years in a row. That's only given to the top 10% of Ford dealers in customer satisfaction. So we're very proud of the service department. And our body shop. If you happen to get into an accident, which not a lot of people just want to go down and see a body shop, but if you get into an accident, award-winning body shop. We have state-of-the-art paint booths back there. They're waterborne paints that we use, friendly for the environment. We've got our production system, the way things are in and out. We have the fastest cycle rate in town of getting your vehicle in, getting your vehicle out.